3 of the 4 candidates who were invited were there. The Conservatives didn't take part. And the debate turned to suggestions of anti-Semitism and racism on the part of candidates when Liberal Deirdre Pike called for an apology to Jewish people from NDPer Sara Jama.
There is a problem when respectable organizations like B'nai B'rith are calling you out for some of these things that have been said, though, Sarah, and I wondered if there's an opportunity for you to go on further a bit, to apologize maybe to the Jewish people.
B'nai B'rith has called on the NDP to withdraw Jama's candidacy, calling her a radical activist who's been associated with groups that have targeted Israel. Jama denies any anti-Semitism and says she's for human rights.
And that includes the rights of everybody, whether it's Black people in our communities, Indigenous people in our communities, and Palestinian people in our communities.
We do need to represent both Palestinian and Jewish residents in this community, but I do think that saying some of the things that are kind of triggering and quite offensive, really, that evoke genocide.
Nothing has been called out in terms of things that I've said. Things that have been called out online were me standing up for Palestinian human rights, and that cannot be conflated with anti-Semitism.
Jama also raised a question about Pike's background.
I'm not the only one at this table with messy history around anti-racism. Like, I could point back to you and to ask you about your history around anti-Black racism.
Pike didn't respond to that.
The right loves this. They love that we're just sort of all nitpicking at each other.
The Green candidate questioned the other candidates on environmental issues and protecting the Greenbelt.
The NDP wants to focus on reaching net zero emission rates by 2050. We want to focus on good green jobs.
Buzzwords are not good enough. So I'm going to pick a little bit on the Liberal one just because, again, the NDP plan lacks detail and it lacks substance.
We need to think about building houses in places that don't threaten our great protected green belt.
In a riding held by former NDP leader Andrea Horwath for years, the other candidates also focused on Sara Jama's history of calling for police budget cuts. She said money should be shifted to community services. Al Sweeney, CHCH News.